Hey everybody, welcome back to the vlog. Thank you so much for joining me once again for tea time. Today we have a little bit of fireside. Why? Because it's afternoon. I like fireside. It's really good. It has that smokiness to it. Really good stuff. If you haven't picked up any of my teas, go check them out over at darkmoonteas.com or at JCristina.com. Anyways, today we're talking about this heat wave that's been going on the last week. I guess today is like Friday. TGIF, people. TGIF. I figure we'll do something like a weekend review or whatnot. I may release this on Saturday instead of today. We'll see. Depends on how much work I have to do as far as client work at the end of the day today. So we will see. Anyways, once again, TGIF, the heat wave is on, and during the course of this week, we've had announcements, we've had a lot of different information that came out, but the thing that's really resonated with a lot of people is this heat wave going on. Now, we told you months and months and months ago, the bane of all mirrorless cameras is heat. And before Canon even came out with the R5 proper and made the announcement, the rumors were out there saying what it was going to be able to do. 8K and all this stuff, full, non-cropped, just amazing. It sounded amazing. And if you go back in the videos, I told you guys, listen, if that is the case, the thing is going to overheat and blow up. I mean, there's no way to dissipate that heat unless you have some type of ventilation, some type of means of induction and exhaust, bringing in cool air, blowing it over the sensor, or of some other kind of heat dissipating, let's say, system in there. It could be piping, it could be a plate, copper plate, whatever. But you need that, and you need exhaust to be able to blow it out. But when you do that, you do sacrifice things like weather resistance, okay? Yes, Panasonic has been able to do it. They have fans in their S series, but it is the case that whenever you have an opening in something, all right, you have the, let's say, more of a possibility of things going wrong or something getting inside. It could even be as little as humidity getting inside and not necessarily a rainstorm. All right. That all being said, this week we've been hearing just more and more and more on this Canon EOS R5 overheating and all this stuff. And it's really getting to be old, I think, after a bit. And the thing that I find interesting here is that a lot of the folks that are saying it, number one, they don't even have it. They're just looking at what other people are saying and making these conclusions without having it, number one. Number two, the entire process of thought behind this, all right, from day one, is that this is going to be an issue and we are going to, as Canon, make you aware of it, all right? And in a video that I did once the announcement came out, I gave guidance in there that Canon put out as far as what are the recording times, all right, at the different data rates and the different capturing speeds for each one. All right. Remember, when you're capturing a lot of data and processing a lot of data, it develops heat. The more data, the more heat. Hence, as you go all the way up into 8K, you're going to be able to record less data. The other thing that is fascinating to me is that when they gave guidance, and I'll tell you what that guidance is, I'll kind of repeat it in just a second, but when they gave this guidance, they gave guidance based on like 73 degrees, okay? It's like lab rat environment, okay? So 73 degrees is what they're giving it. It's like an ambient temperature. Where is that? Maybe in California in some parts where you get 73 degrees. I'm in Florida. It's like damn 100 degrees out there. And what also you have to remember is in these little lab rat environments, it's 73 degrees, but like the relative humidity is probably like 15%. All right. Whereas here in Florida, it's like 90, 95 degrees with like a relative humidity of like 180%. Obviously, it's not possible, but you know what I'm saying. 90, sometimes 100% humidity just on the brink of raining all the time. Relative humidity does affect this too. No one's been talking about that, but it's absolute fact. So these are kind of things that I thought was kind of interesting. They're giving bases based on this just beautiful setting where they're in this laboratory with guaranteed almost no humidity and 73 degrees, which is not always the case. All right, so you have to take these numbers and these figures all with a grain of salt. And that's the same as with this channel and all the channels you go and frequent, okay? Listen to what people have to say, see if they have a horse in the race, and then make your conclusions. On this channel, I just give you my thoughts, I give you facts, but then I'll give you my opinion also. This is an opinion show, so to speak. All right. And we have these conversations back and forth. I don't say one way or the other way. I want you to decide. I'll tell you the facts that I've got. Some of them are rumor. I'll tell you what's rumor. And then we decide. All right. We have these conversations. Now, at the time of the announcement, Canon came out with the following lab rat information. All right. Number one, the EOS R5 at 8K 30p. It will be able to record for 20 minutes before getting hot. Let's call it overheating. At 4K 120p, you can record for 20 minutes. At 4K 60p, you can record for 35 minutes. And finally, at 4K 30p, it is unlimited. Now, unlimited in quotes, that's unlimited without it overheating and turning off, okay? Now, moving into the EOS R6. Their guidance was, once again, in this laboratory 73 degrees, perfect relative humidity, 4K at 60p for 30 minutes, 4K at 30p for 40 minutes. Now, this is the guidance that Canon issued based on their knowledge, all right, immediately at the time of announcement. And some people complained about it, some people didn't. You know, I am a Canon shooter, but you know I am unbiased. I'll tell you how I see it. I actually like that they even said this, that this is going to be an issue, all right, or this is a problem. I hate saying issue. An issue, I guess, would mean that it wasn't stated previous to the problem happening. Then it would be like an issue. This isn't an issue. This is a statement of what would happen if you record longer than these set period of times. Okay? This is guidance. Let's call it guidance. I hate this overheating issue. It's not an issue. Guidance, all right? They also gave guidance based on if you were to use the camera to that heating point, all right? How long would you need the camera to sit and wait and cool down before you're able to record again, and how much time you'll be able to record after you wait X number of minutes. I mean, this is crazy guidance. Most of the time you never see crap like this. They don't give it to you, all right? So the lab rats come back once again at 73 degrees, relative humidity of next to nothing, with the following. At 8K 30p, if you wait for 10 minutes, you'll be then provided with an additional 3 minutes of record time. At 8K 30p, if you wait for 20 minutes, you will get an additional 8 minutes of record time. And finally, at 4K 60p, if you wait 10 minutes, you will get an additional 10 minutes of record time. Basically, you're getting a one-to-one return on your investment of waiting. All right. And that is at 4K 60p. And that is basically where a lot of people are going to record. They're going to record 4K, 24p, 30p, and 60p. A lot of people aren't going to be hitting that 120p. A lot of people are not going to be doing 8K anyways. But let's just use that as guidance. So in my personal opinion, this could not be any more clear. Could it? I mean, facts and figures and facts. Lab rats, facts, lab rats. All right. And now all of a sudden we're starting to hear rumblings that Canon is going to recall the R5 and R6. How many R5s are out there, guys? I mean, there's a few in Germany, I think, you know, maybe 100, maybe 200, maybe a couple, whatever. Very small amount. So by saying that they're going to recall this camera now, when it hasn't really been put out there to be recalled, I think sounds stupid, number one. All right. In its face, it sounds like BS. I'm calling BS on it. All right. Number two, this is not a simple fix. All right. There would be a good amount of rebuilding reconstruction, movement of crap in this camera to be able to fix it, right? Let's just speculate on that back side of the camera, where you take your fully articulated back panel and flip it over, and now you have that back area. And one of the companies said they were going to use that back area to cool the camera. Well, they could take that insulated plastic, have it removable, and have a copper plate, let's say right there, and now stick that unit that they were creating onto the back and really do a good job at cooling the camera. Okay, so that's a possibility, but it's a reworking. Also, they would probably have to do some duct work, some ducting in there, some copper tubing, right? Something to move the heat to a location where they want it to be dissipated, not just radiating throughout the body, which is probably the way it is right now. Remember, they were talking about a patent in 2019 that would allow for an EF to RF adapter that has like these cooling gills inside of it with an exhaust and an inlet that would allow the heat to dissipate forward, right? That's where they're seeing the heat going, forward, not backwards. Okay, so like I said, there has to be some retooling going on to be able to do it. Also, we're looking at a release 2 months, 3 months, 4, whatever it is, okay? The maximum. To do this, it would take a year, all right? It's not going to just happen like overnight. It is absolutely impossible, in my personal opinion. There is no possible way. And thirdly, since they already issued guidance on this problem, all right? Let's call it a problem. Since they issued guidance already, it's not really an issue that is a recallable issue because it was stated from the beginning before you purchased it or you pre-ordered it. Heat is a problem at this duration of time, at this level of recording. And that is it. They told you exactly what it is. Buy it or don't buy it. So I don't see how a recall would happen because of that either. And finally, in my personal opinion, most of these companies, and you know it as well as I do, use us as beta testers. They don't do ample amount of R&D, and they do not do, surely not ample amount of testing from internal or external beta testers. Okay? Because if they did, how long would it take for them to know that the damn thing is overheating at 8K? How long would it take for them to know that at 4K, at 120p, it's overheating at X amount of time? And if they knew that that was happening, why wouldn't they fix it before springing it on us? They don't. They use us as beta testers, okay? And then when a EOS R5S comes out, guess what? It'll have new plumbing in it. And that plumbing will plumb the heat out of the damn thing, either through an active cooling system with a fan, or a passive cooling system, but dissipating it into a certain location out, exhausting it out somehow, getting it out. All right? Maybe making that EF, RF converter adapter thing, but built into the camera itself and have that little bit deeper flange. All right? That could be a possibility. But remember, if they did that and made that EF-RF adapter built in, let's say, or something similar that has that cooling fan, let's say, in it, or that cooling element in it, what would they have to do? All the lenses are already out there. Okay? Those lenses are built for a certain spec, a certain distance that it needs to be mounted away from the sensor. So now if you have this extra flange on there, that means you have to take the sensor and move it forward. Like I said, they have to do a lot of work. This is not a quick fix. This is a holistic fix that has to be done from outside, inside, inside, outside. Okay? It is not just like a simple thing to do. Like I said, they'll have to replumb it. They're going to have to figure it out. They might have to go down the same route that Panasonic did. Okay, still weather seal it, but have a fan in it. Now, that being said, the thing that I didn't like about this latest news that I heard about Sony and their system is now overheating also, the A7SIII. Now, some people say yes, some people say no. Some people have actually shown it overheating. Other people say, well, the testing was not done right. What the hell ever, okay? Like we've talked about in the past, these things will overheat if you push them to the limit. The more data you pump through it, the more data they have to process, the more data they have to write, the faster they have to do it, the more heat that is produced, right? Simple. This is not rocket science. These lab rats, they can figure that crap out pretty quick. It is what it is, right? That is simply it. You're not going to be able to dissipate it in a little tiny unit. Now, we're seeing that Sony supposedly is having some overheating issues at 4K 60p for duration of time, but I noticed that the people were outside doing these recordings. Now, is that a bad thing? No. I think testing outside is not a bad thing at all, because now you get some real, use case. Someone's doing a wedding, they're not sitting in like a 20% relative humidity church that's 73 degrees. It's not going to happen, right? They're inside, they're outside, they're sweating. It's just like a hot mess. If you guys have done any events, that's how it rocks. That's how it rolls. It's a wreck. You're all over the place, okay? Weddings, events are a hot mess, and you're in and out, in and out. You don't know where you're going to be shooting. Okay, you could be sitting in an absolute beautiful, 73 degrees, and all of a sudden you're out with 100% humidity at 100 degrees, and all of your lenses are fogged up. What do you think is going on in the camera? It's pissed too. All right, guys? So anyways, we've seen some overheating with that Sony A7SIII, and I'm not any bit surprised about it. Are you? I mean, there's some Sony fanboys that are like, oh my, don't say it. That is absolutely not the case. It is absolutely not the case. And I'm like, why would it not be the case? Do you see what the camera's doing? The thing is awesome. It is an awesome camera. The one thing that I don't like is that the Sony A7SIII has a 12.1 megapixel sensor, whereas the Canon has a 45 megapixel sensor. All right? That means that Canon is capturing like 45 million pixels compared to 12 million pixels. You're talking about like 4 times the amount of pixels it's capturing at 60p, at 30p, at 120p. 4 times. That is a lot. You're talking about 4 times the amount of data. You're talking about 4 times the amount of processing that needs to be done. And I would venture to say it's probably 4 times the amount of heat. Right? It's doing a ton more work. So when the A7SIII came out and I was reporting on it and talking about it, I'm like, yeah, this thing shouldn't overheat, but it might. It still might. But sadly, some of the reports are showing that the Canon is actually holding its own against the A7SIII when it comes to overheating outside, not in the pristine 73 degrees laboratory environment. Why that is, I really don't know. I really don't know. I personally think at 45 megapixels, Canon should literally have went supernova and destroyed the planet trying to record at 8K. That is a massive amount of data. Think about it. 45 million pixels. Just drilling it. The amount of processing that has to be done. They have some kind of special sauce or magic going on in there just to be able to do it. I don't get it. I really don't get it. And for them to come up even close to equal the amount of time at 4K 60p as the Sony, how is it even possible? Well, maybe the Canon is slightly bigger, dissipating the heat more. I don't know. Maybe the passive engineering heat distribution is better in the Canon. I really don't know. I don't know. I really don't know. But either which way, no matter what ends up happening with this whole overheating thing on the Sony side, I do think that Sony should come out with guidance, okay? And say, listen, just like Canon did, at 4K 60p, this is what you're going to get. 4K 120p, this is what you're going to get. 4K 240p, whatever it is, okay? List it all and give guidance as far as how long this thing is going to run without overheating in a set environment. If they want to use 73 degrees lab rat type of environment, like I said, at 15% relative humidity, so be it. I'm okay with it. Absolutely fine. But I think Sony really, really should give some guidance here. I really do. I think they should. Now, what does this all tell us? Basically nothing, guys. We've basically, at the end of all this, we've gotten nowhere. The one thing that we have to say is, like I've said from the very beginning, heat is the bane of all mirrorless cameras, and all of the companies are going to have to somehow figure it out. That's number one. Number two, these companies got to understand that they are not creating black magic machines that are 3 times more expensive or a red or whatever. These are set type of machines at price X. All right? They need to just get that through their thick head. These things don't need to be doing all of this. It's not necessary. All right? Do what you do it well, and make sure that there's no problems. I don't want problems. That's just simply it. And number 3, they might really need to look at some type of active cooling going forward. Not this passive BS, right? Put a fan in it, blow some cool air on it, and exhaust out all of that hot air. That would really work. That would really help a lot. Just think, Apple does it. Forget about Panasonic. Apple does it. They took off the headphone jack. It pissed me off. But that's all right. They took off the headphone jack, and now it's water resistant. And there's holes in the damn thing, and it's still water resistant. How do they do it? Like, they use like the microphone or the speakers to vibrate, pulse at certain rate to push the water out. Some kind of crazy ass engineering, but they did it. So they could probably do it with the cameras also. It's something to think about. But I really do think that active is where they need to go with this, not passive. Anyways, guys, if you haven't picked up my ebook, go over to JCristina.com/ebook. Pick it up. 10 tips at making sharper images, something for amateurs and professionals, something for everyone. Go pick it up. JCristina.com/ebook. Anyways, guys, I want to hear your thoughts on this whole mess. This overheating supernova thing's going catastrophic and blowing up the entire universe. Let's hear about it. I want to hear it from you. What do you think? Anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed this. If you've gotten even just this much out of this video, please give it a thumbs up. That would be very helpful for myself, for the channel, for the YouTube gods. All right? And if you haven't subscribed, smash that subscribe button so you can get all my content when it becomes available, and click the bell icon somewhere right on here so when it is available, you will be notified of it. And finally, head over to my website, JCristina.com, where you can find all the photography tools that I've invented for you and me over the years, and hopefully there's something there that you might like. And if there is, please pick it up and support me and my family. That would be absolutely stellar. That's it, guys. I'm out of here for yet another vlog. Many blessings to you and your family. Stay safe and stay healthy. Have a great weekend.